The film opens in a nostalgic tone, portraying a primitive society that lives in harmony with leopards. The felines appear friendly toward the people, who even have a system of punishment. In one scene, a woman is tied to a tree and left to her fate. At dawn, one of the leopards approaches her, and later she herself enters the animal's cave, suggesting a connection between them. The setting shifts to the city, where we meet the protagonist, Irena Gallier, a young woman raised by adoptive parents. For the first time since childhood, she reunites with her older brother, Paul, who lives in New Orleans. Paul picks her up at the airport and takes her to his apartment, where he lives alone, accompanied only by his housekeeper, a woman named Female. Female welcomes Irena warmly, and later they all have dinner together. During the meal, a strange tension between Paul and Female can be felt, though it is not explained at that moment. After dinner, Paul invites Irena upstairs to show her some objects he kept from their childhood. Their grandfather owned a circus, and both siblings have vivid memories of him. Paul deeply values some of the circus instruments and shows them to Irena, but he begins to act in a seductive way and touches her inappropriately. Irena ignores him, yet that same night, Paul quietly goes upstairs with sinister intentions. Female sees him but does not stop him. When he reaches Irena's room, he finds her asleep and sits on the edge of the bed, purring as he watches her. Elsewhere, a prostitute enters a motel and removes her coat. She is there because Paul arranged a meeting in a cheap hotel. The woman enters Paul's room and begins to undress, but Paul does not respond to her advances. Soon, the woman finds a yellowish substance that disgusts her. Then a black leopard emerges from under the bed and drags her toward it. She screams and manages to escape, though with one leg badly injured. Authorities arrive at the scene, and upon reviewing the cameras, they see the leopard trapped inside the room. The curator of the New Orleans Zoo, Oliver Yates, along with his assistants Alice Perrin and Joe Cray, are called in to capture the black leopard and secure it. Oliver sets up a ladder from the outside to try to shoot the leopard through the window. After some difficulty, he manages to fire and capture it. They return to the zoo with the animal. Meanwhile, Irena wakes up and discovers that Paul has disappeared. With him gone, she decides to spend her first full day in New Orleans exploring the city. She first takes a taxi through the French Quarter and then stops at the zoo, where she becomes fascinated by the new leopard. So much so that she continues drawing it even an hour and a half after the zoo has closed. Oliver surprises her, and in doing so, Irena drops her sketchbook and runs toward the trees, ending up high in one. Oliver convinces her to come down. Noticing that she seems feverish, he takes her inside and places a cold cloth on her forehead, thinking her exhaustion may be due to hunger. They decide to go out to eat. During dinner, Oliver learns that Irena is looking for a job and hires her to work at the zoo's gift shop. Irena's first day at work is memorable. Alice introduces herself, and the two have lunch together. A strange woman calls Irena sister. That afternoon, while Irena continues watching the black leopard, it suddenly goes wild. When Joe tries to calm it, the leopard tears off his right arm, causing him to bleed out quickly. When Oliver returns with his gun to kill the beast, the leopard has disappeared, leaving blood everywhere. Oliver tells Alice they must alert the police about the escaped leopard. When Irena arrives home that night, she finds Paul there, but he no longer seems brotherly. He tells her he was in jail during his absence and tries to persuade her to have sex with him, saying he is the only one who can touch her, and she is the only one who can touch him. He also mentions that he has noticed how her body burns when she is near Oliver. He tells her that what she believes is love is actually blood, and that she is no different from him. However, Irena replies that she is not like him. Irena knows she is drawn to Oliver and wants nothing to do with her brother. So she runs away, but the way she does it is unsettling, as she leaps and moves with the agility of a cat. Paul follows her as well, making the same feline jumps. Fortunately, Irena manages to stop a police car on the street and approaches them for help. However, just as she turns to look at Paul, he is gone. The officers find no one chasing her and ask if she wants to file a report. At that moment, the police dog becomes agitated, prompting a quick search of the area and the house. Shortly after, the dog leads the officers to Paul's basement, where they find a cage, chains, and parts of several bodies. After reviewing Paul's records, they discover he has been in and out of mental institutions since the age of 10, when his parents committed suicide. They were circus performers, and Paul grew up surrounded by big cats. Suspecting he may have been responsible for keeping the escaped panther, they contact the zoo. Oliver and Alice arrive at the scene, and the officer suggests that Paul intended to kill Irena, advising her to find another place to live. Oliver offers her a place with him, while the police take the housekeeper to the station for further questioning. The next day, Oliver takes Irena to a cabin belonging to a friend who lives by the river. His name is Yatin, and he looks after the place. Irena feels relieved to be safe for a while. Oliver and Irena spend time together, fishing and boating, growing closer with each moment. Meanwhile, in a cemetery, Paul meets another woman who seems interested in him. He takes her pictures and begins his process of seduction. Back with Irena and Oliver, they continue to grow closer, and this time, Oliver kisses her. Irena responds the same way, and the connection between them is intense. However, that night, Irena wakes up strangely and leaves the cabin alone. She wears a thin nightgown, which she soon removes completely before heading into the forest. Irena begins to behave in a more disturbing way, as if what happened with Paul were not enough. She's soon running on all fours, chasing a rabbit, her vision entirely from a feline perspective. Meanwhile, Paul is with the woman he met, and she has no idea what is about to happen. He tells her he has trouble with arousal, and she responds with understanding. Back with Irena, she returns to the cabin, but her mouth is covered in blood. When Oliver tries to approach her, she turns the light away from her face, suggesting she too is a strange creature like her brother. The next morning, Paul wakes up naked in the bathroom, with the same yellowish substance near him, but he does not seem surprised. In fact, he consumes it in a disturbing way. As he leaves the bathroom, we realize that he is the one who transforms into the leopard and kills the prostitutes, using them as prey. This time, the woman he met lies mutilated and covered in blood, lifeless on the floor. Soon, the hotel reports the incident, and Oliver arrives at the scene. Later that day, Irena decides to leave Oliver, realizing she may not be so different from her brother Paul. Even though she is falling in love with Oliver, and he with her, she tells him she cannot make love to him. Oliver reassures her, saying it does not matter because he loves her and only wants to care for her. Irena changes her mind and agrees to be with him. However, at that very moment, we see Paul watching them with vengeful eyes. A week passes, and the search for the escaped panther has yielded no results. Oliver and his team are disappointed, and when he and Alice return home, she expresses concern over his recent obsession. Alice is also in love with Oliver, which stirs feelings of rivalry in Irena. Meanwhile, Irena is at home when she senses something strange outside the window. Something is lurking outside, and suddenly, Paul jumps into the house, frightening her. Paul feels he can no longer go on like this. Once again, he tries to have sex with her, begging her to understand and telling her they need each other, just as their parents did to remain pure. It is the only way they can live, he explains. Their parents, who were also siblings, lived together as husband and wife and needed to make love to avoid killing another victim. Irena and Paul are descendants of a line of cat people, individuals who transform into panthers after mating and must kill in order to return to human form. Irena knows nothing of this aspect of her lineage. She is still a virgin, so she has no idea what sex will do to her. Paul, on the other hand, has lived with this knowledge for years and has developed a system in which he uses prostitutes as his prey. Paul also tells her that Alice and Oliver are meant for each other, and that she should leave Oliver for her own good. Irena refuses to let him control her life decisions, so she stabs him with a shard of broken glass from the window and runs away. With a scar on his hand and blood dripping, Paul transforms into the panther he always becomes. Meanwhile, Alice and Oliver return to check on Irena. However, when Oliver goes upstairs, he encounters the wild cat, which is Paul in his panther form. Oliver is attacked by the beast and shouts to Alice to get the shotgun. Alice runs for the weapon and quickly fires at the panther, causing it to leap out the window. Irena comes out and witnesses her brother's death. The next day, when Oliver performs the panther's autopsy, he is horrified to find a human hand in its stomach. After this, the entire body of the panther spontaneously disintegrates, releasing a nauseating smoke and a stench that causes Oliver to lose consciousness. The following day, Irena goes to the jail to visit a woman and ask what she can do. The woman tells her that no matter where she goes, she must live in fear, as she cannot escape her feline nature. Disappointed, Irena goes to the train station with the intention of going as far away as possible. While on the train, she falls asleep and has a strange dream about her ancestors. In the dream, she is in a desert where she meets Paul, who tells her the story of their lineage. Long ago, their ancestors sacrificed their children to leopards. The souls of the children grew inside the leopards until the animals turned into humans. They were gods then, and Irena and Paul are part of an incestuous race that can only make love with their own kind. Otherwise, they transform, and before they can become human again, they must kill. Paul shows her their mother, and together they send her the message that she must return to New Orleans. The next morning, we see Alice running. It is late, and she stops at the pool to swim for a while and change her clothes. As she is undressing, she hears a growl. Frightened, Alice jumps into the pool. Suddenly, the lights go out and the growling grows louder. Alice begins to scream. When the lights come back on, Irena is standing there. The receptionist hands Alice her robe, only to discover it is torn to shreds. Alice calls Oliver to warn him about what happened, but Oliver is too enchanted by Irena, who has just returned and is removing her clothes, letting him know she is ready to make love. After they make love, Irena transforms into a panther, but she leaves before harming Oliver. She is later seen near a bridge, and SWAT teams are called in to corner the panther. Oliver and Alice arrive at the scene, but despite their presence, the panther manages to escape. Oliver goes out searching for Irena and finds her in human form because she has already killed. Irena begs Oliver to kill her, but he refuses. She then asks him to free her by making love to her once more. "I want to live my way," she tells him. In the final scene, Oliver stands in front of the new panther cage at the zoo. It is clear that the recaptured panther is Irena, now trapped forever in her feline form. Oliver reaches through the bars and gently strokes the neck of the docile panther. And with this, the movie ends. Don't forget to check out my channel, subscribe, and catch all the latest videos.